So my name is Shri, and today basically I'm going to read the story of Shakespeare. Basically it's a drama, but I'm going to read it in a form of a story, and that too, the Taming of the Shrew. It's interesting. It's basically a comedy. It has a happy ending, and I'm going to read it. I don't know how long will it take. Maybe 2 to 3 videos, but let's start. Then we will continue like that. The Taming of the Shrew. Catherine the Shrew was the eldest daughter of Baptista, a rich gentleman of Padua. She was a lady of such an ungovernable spirit and fiery temper, such a loud-tongued scold, that she was known in Padua by no other name than Catherine the Shrew. It seemed very unlikely, indeed impossible, that any gentleman would ever be found who would venture to marry this lady, and therefore Baptista was much blamed for deferring his consent to many excellent offers that were made to her gentle sister Bianca, putting off all Bianca's suitors with this excuse that when the eldest sister was fairly off his hands, they should have free leave to address young Bianca. It happened, however, that a gentleman named Petruchio came to Padua purposely to look out for a wife, who, nothing discouraged by these reports of Catherine's temper, was hearing she was rich and handsome, resolved upon marrying this famous termagant and taming her into a meek and manageable wife. And truly none was so fit to set about this Herculean labor as Petruchio, whose spirit was as high as Catherine's, and he was a witty and most happy-tempered humorist, and withal so wise, and of such a true judgment, that he well knew how to feign a passionate and furious deportment when his spirits were so calm that himself could have laughed merrily at his own angry feigning, for his natural temper was careless and easy. The boisterous airs he assumed when he became the husband of Catherine being but in sport, or more properly speaking, affected by his excellent discernment as the only means to overcome, in her own way, the passionate way of the furious Catherine. According then, Petruchio went to Catherine the Shrew, and first of all he applied to Baptista her father to leave to woo his gentle daughter Catherine, as Petruchio called her, saying archly that having heard of her graceful modesty and mild behavior, he had come from Verona to solicit her love. Her father, though he wished her married and was forced to confess Catherine, would ill answer this character. It being soon apparent of what matter of gentleness she was composed, for her music master rushed into the room to complain that the gentle Catherine, his pupil, had broken his head with her lute, for presuming to find fault with her performance, which when Petruchio heard, he said, "It is a brave wench, I love her more than ever, and long to have some chat with her." And hurrying the old gentleman for a positive answer, he said, "My business is in haste. Signor Baptista, I cannot come every day to you. You knew my father, he is dead, and has left me heir to all his lands and goods. Then tell me, if I get your daughter's love, what dowry will you give with her?" Baptista thought this manner was somewhat blunt for a lover, but being glad to get Catherine married, he answered that he would give her 20,000 crowns for her dowry and half his estate at his death. So this odd match was quickly agreed on, and Baptista went to apprise his cherished daughter for her lover's addresses and sent her into Petruchio to listen to his suit. In the meantime, Petruchio was settling with himself the mode of courtship he should pursue, and he said, "I will woo her with some spirit when she comes. If she rails at me, why then I will tell her she sings as sweetly as a nightingale. If she frowns, I will say she looks as clear as roses newly washed with dew. If she will not speak a word, I will praise the eloquence of her language, and if she bids me leave her, I will thank her as she bid me stay with her a week." Now the stately Catherine entered, and Petruchio first addressed her with good morrow, Kate, for that is your name, I hear. Catherine, not liking this plain salutation, said disdainfully, "They call me Catherine, who do speak to me." "You lie," replied the lover. "For you are plain Kate, and bonny Kate, and sometimes Kate is shrew. But Kate, you are the prettiest Kate in Christendom, and therefore, Kate, Hearing your mildness praised in every town, I came to hear you for my wife. A strange courtship they made of it, she in loud and angry terms showing him how justly she had gained the name of shrew. While he still praised her sweet and courteous words, till at length, hearing her father coming, he said, Sweet Catherine, let us set this idle chat aside, for your father has consented that you shall be my wife. Your dowry is agreed on, and whether you will or no, I will marry you. And now Baptista, entering Patricio, told his daughter had received him kindly and that she had promised to be married the next Sunday. This Catherine denied, saying she would rather see him hanged on Sunday, and reproached her father for wishing to wed her to such a madcap ruffian as Patricio. Patricio desired her father not to disregard her angry words, for they had agreed she should seem reluctant before him, but that when they were alone he had found her very fond and loving. And he said to her, Give me your hand, Kate. I will go to Venice to buy you fine apparel against our wedding day. Provide the feast, father, and beat the wedding guests. I will be sure to bring rings, fine array, and rich clothes, that when Catherine may be fine and kiss me, Kate, for we will be married on Sunday. On the Sunday, all the wedding guests were assaulted, but they waited long before Patricio came, and Catherine wept for vexation to think that Patricio had been only making a jest of her. At last, however, he appeared, but he brought none of the bridal finery he had promised Catherine, nor was he dressed himself like a bridegroom, but in strange disordered attire, as if he meant to make a sport of the serious business he came about. And his servant and the very horses on which they rode were in like manner in mean and fantastic fashion habited. Patricio could not be persuaded to change his dress. He said Catherine was to be married to him and not to his clothes, and finding it was in vain to argue with him to the church, they went. He is still behaving in the same mad way, for when the priest asked Patricio if Catherine should be his wife, he swore so loud that she should, that all amazed, the priest let fall his book, and as he stopped to take it up, this mad-brained bridegroom gave him such a curve that fell down the priest and his book again. And all the while they were being married, he stamped and swore, so that the high-spirited Catherine trembled and shook with fear. After the ceremony was over, while they were yet in the church, he called for wine and drank a loud health to the company, and threw a sop which was at the bottom of the glass full in the sexton's face, giving no other reason for this strange act than that the sexton's beard grew thin and hungerly, and seemed to ask the sop as he was drinking. Never sure was there such a mad marriage, but Patricio did but put his wildness on, the better to succeed in the plot he had formed to tame his shrew's wife. Baptista had provided a sumptuous marriage feast, but when they returned from church, Patricio, taking hold of Catherine, declared his intention of carrying his wife home instantly, and no remonstrance of his father-in-law or angry words of the enraged Catherine could make him change his purpose. He claimed a husband's right to dispose of his wife as he pleased, and away he hurried Catherine off, seeming so daring and resolute that no one dared attempt to stop him. Patricio mounted his wife upon a miserable horse, lean and lank, which he had picked out for the purpose, and himself and his servant, no better mounted, they journeyed on through rough and miry ways. And ever when this horse of Catherine stumbled, he would storm and swear at the poor jaded beast, who could scarce crawl under his burden, as if he had been the worst passionate man alive. So, for this much today, and as I was saying that it is quite long, but not quite, but I am going to make it within 2 to 3 videos. I will try to make it, and hope you enjoy this reading, and you are along with me in this reading session. So we will see you in the next video and continue from this part. Thank you for your cooperation.